Hey everybody, welcome to another Playful Humans podcast. I'm your host, Mike Montague, and my guest this week is an event producer and host of the Recess Life podcast. It's Louise Wu. For more information on her, you can find her at louisepanwo.com. And for more information on Playful Humans, you can go to playfulhumans.com, take our Playful Personality quiz, and join our community. We call it The Club. We have other fun Playful Humans trying to fix the burned out and bored and turn them into the empowered and engaged. So find out more at playfulhumans.com. I think we're ready. Ready? Let's do it.
Don't wait for tomorrow. Keep chasing the sunshine.
Oh, we have your name in the song.
Oh,
So we got Woo's.
hey.
All right, we like to start with the joke of the week. The joke of the week is brought to you by Bubble Wrap. It keeps your packages safe and your kids busy for a few minutes. Try Bubble Wrap today.
Or adults.
Or adults, or yourself busy. It's a very like ASMR thing.
So satisfying.
Yeah. Do you have a joke for us?
Yes, I do. So, Mike, how do you make a tissue dance?
I don't know.
You put a boogie in it.
Put a little boogie in it. Nice. I love that one. What do you get if you brush your teeth with dish soap?
Ooh, it's a really gross taste.
Bubble gums. All right, there we go. There's two jokes for the kids too, or the very cheesy adults. So welcome to the podcast, Louise, and tell us a little bit about the Recess Life podcast, because we have some podcast listeners here, obviously. When did you start that, and how did that come about for you?
Sure. So the Recess Life podcast started in 2019, and it is the exploration of lifelong play and creativity. No matter what age you are, we're told play is important when we're kids.
Mm-hmm.
But as we grow older, of course, that tends to fade away, and we're told we need to be serious. And so I interview thought leaders, entertainers, artists about their lives and what we can learn from them and how they've gotten to where they are in their life. And I've been really fortunate to interview some really wonderful, playful, creative people. So it's been such a joy.
Yeah, I'm kind of just getting started on this, but obviously Playful Humans is about having more play and enjoying interviewing people that play for a living. And so right in line, and you've interviewed some really cool people from like Muppet designers and PhD scientists doing research to who is an interesting maybe guest. I won't say favorite because that would make you pick. That's like picking your kids. But do you have any kind of like notable or most interesting guests maybe?
Yeah, well, the one that really stands out right now is someone named Laura Nix. She is an Academy Award nominated film director. She was nominated for her film Walk, Run, Cha-Cha for Best Documentary Short in 2019, I believe. And
cool.
It's this amazing story of this couple. They are refugee immigrants from Vietnam, and they've been living in the States for many, many years, but they're in the stage of their life now where they can really think about play and joy and fulfillment in a different way. And so they've been taking ballroom dance classes for the past few years, and it's become such an integral part of their life. And so her documentary covered their story. And so it was such a joy to talk to her because I relate to that with my own cultural background and my own parents' background. And so it was such a joy to get to talk to her.
That's a really cool one. I did ballroom dancing lessons for a couple of years, and I don't know that I can cha-cha. I did mostly salsa, and then we did some other form of ballroom dancing, but the names escape me now. Definitely do swing dancing. That was fun.
Nice. Good
so
for you.
I highly recommend that one for anybody looking to play and move and build a relationship with a significant other. All like great things. But even if you don't have one, it's really fun just to do with random friends and people and stuff too in those classes.
Agreed.
And then you are an event producer, which I'm sure that made 2020 an interesting year for you. So tell us a little bit about like pre-COVID and post-COVID, what's that look like? Are you doing virtual events now, and where are things for you?
Yeah, so prior to COVID, I produced events, conferences for a lot of social impact organizations and some really wonderful companies I've been fortunate to work with. And so, yeah, it'd be anywhere from a 200-person fundraiser to a 2,000-person multi-day conference in South Africa.
Wow.
And it was a great joy. So I love bringing people together and creating the spaces for people to connect and join together with community. And it was, but then, like you said, in 2020, things came to a halt. And so, yeah, things kind of left and right were canceled, things I'd been working on for months. And it was really this, at first it was definitely jarring, and I had to take a step back, and I let myself take that step back because, you know, I accepted it, that I needed, that maybe this was a sign that I could slow down and think about other things. And at that time was actually really enriching, and I'm still trying to carry that forward. But yeah, actually, since the new year started, and even a good part of last year, virtual events have been coming in pretty hot and heavy. So it's been good. Yeah, so it's been good. I feel like people are really in a place now where they can recognize that even if we are in this virtual world for a while, virtual events are not going to go away, and so let's embrace them as much as we can now. This week, I produced a virtual pageant of sorts, which was so fun. And that's actually what's been really cool about virtual events, is that I've had the opportunity to produce some things that I wouldn't actually have the opportunity to do. I've never done anything like a pageant before. There was a talent show round, there was a judges Q&A round, there was a personality showcase, things that I hadn't done before. So it's been really this interesting opportunity that's been presented to me by doing virtual events right now.
That one sounds really interesting, because I've moved a lot of events online myself, and hosted different corporate things and virtual game shows and conferences, you know, for sales and leadership, normal corporate event stuff. But the pageant seems interesting to me, because there would have to be like definitely some work on the setups of angles and cameras, and, you know, you're not just gonna show your dress from, you know, you're up on Zoom, right? So how did that all work out?
Yeah, so we did rehearsals and tech checks with all the contestants and our judges prior, and we tried to get as much information we could about their acts. We didn't preview the whole thing. Yeah, that part was tricky, and there were a couple things that we couldn't quite get right, but it was also the nature of just what we were dealing with. So yeah, we just tried to get as much information we could about their acts in advance, do pre-show checks. For all the judges, we gave them really cool virtual backgrounds that had like a red curtain behind it, so it looked like they were, you know, sitting behind this really official stage. So yeah, it was definitely a learning experience, definitely one of the more ambitious virtual events I've done, but I mean, so fun, and just, I mean, I'm still smiling from it. It was a blast, really.
That one sounds like fun. I have taken runner-up in a beauty pageant before. So how about that?
Ooh, what was the title? What was the pageant for?
It was the Mr. Park University pageant in college. I was obviously a very small university, but I feel like I got robbed because I had the fans behind me. I was definitely a fan favorite, but the old swimsuit competition got me.
Darn
Hate it when that happens.
Darn it! It was close. If it wouldn't have been for that, Mike, I know you would have taken the title.
I know, but I did get Spring Fling King later that year, so I feel like I redeemed myself.
Look at you! You're just like a.
Yeah, those are just the resume things that you keep. Like you keeping those in the vault, right? When you're over 40, you're like, at one time I was cool. I could pull that off at one time in my life. But I wanted to ask you about fun and play, because I think they go together. I did a lot of events and weddings as a DJ and stuff, but how did you find play as like a thing, and And what inspired the shift to the podcast? Because that was even pre-COVID for you.
It was, yeah. Gosh, it's been a journey, I think, as it has been for anyone else who does work in play or explores play as a topic. As a kid, I was such this energetic, jubilant, performative child, and I loved to sing around the house and dance around whenever I could. It wasn't quite encouraged in my family as just the way I grew up. And so I felt like I had to push that down for a lot of my life. And it wasn't until I recognized that I really needed to explore that side of myself. And it wasn't until, honestly, I went to college and started taking dance classes. I hadn't taken, even though I loved dance my whole life, I wasn't able to take classes until I was an adult and I could be on my own and pay for them. And dance was really the opening to explore that side of myself. And it's been this journey ever since. And gosh, I can't say I had like an epiphany moment, but it was these series of moments of recognizing, wow, the more I open up to play and creativity, the more I blossom in my relationships, the more I blossom in my career, the more I bring play into my career, the more fun it is, the more I draw in the kind of people I want to work with and the clients I want to work with. Okay. And the podcast was really just an extension of me wanting to connect with others who I see moving their lives in this similar direction. So who are these people that are also creating a more fulfilling life through embracing play and creativity and all different sides of themselves? And what can I learn from them? And how can I share what they are learning with others? So it's been, that's how it sort of came to be. And it's just this ever evolving journey that keeps growing.
Do you have a top takeaway, or do you see like a theme in all those interviews that you've done? Because you've been doing it for a while now. Is there a common thread or something that really just jumps out at you as the message or lesson learned from all that?
The biggest one that I've taken away is that there is no linear path to our lives. I think we're sold this idea that it's step one is this, and then you will get to step two and step three. And it's sort of life is supposed to happen sequentially and linearly. And everyone I've talked to on my podcast has not lived their lives that way. Nyla Blades, who I had on my podcast, she started out in corporate America, and then she started a marketing agency, and now she runs an adventure company for women of color. But everything has led her to that place, maybe in a roundabout way, but it's informed the next step. But it wasn't so obvious at the time. And same, you mentioned the Muppet creator, that's Gwen Gordon, who I admire so much. Yeah, she started her career designing Muppets at Sesame Street. And then she has also led workshops at prisons. And she has also gone to school for philosophy and somatics. And so it's this bridging of all these different components. And that's what I see in all these people, is that play is about exploration and being open to the journey, not having it look a certain way and look sequentially.
Yeah, I like that. I've noticed that too from interviewing a lot of playful people, is that you have to figure out a creative career for sure if you want to really play for a living. And a lot of people do a lot of things and then see what sticks or what they can make money from and figure it out. Or you have to find that sweet spot, right? Some jobs are fun, but they don't pay anything. Others pay really well, but they're super, boring and burn you out super fast. And so you do have to kind of weave your way in and out. But I love what you said at the end there too, though, is what I found is a combination of things is what makes life interesting. There is no one right answer for how you should spend your life. I'm wondering if you agree, because I've kind of found that in everything that usually there's an like there's not one right soulmate for you. There's probably lots of people. There's 7 billion people on the planet that you could have a really nice life with, right? But you can find one of them. You can find a soulmate, but maybe not the soulmate. Or you can find a cool job, but not the cool job or the career for you. Do you agree with that?
I do. And I've come to agree with that more as I've I've grown up, dare I say. But yeah, I think, yeah, I when I was younger, I think I believed that there was this sort of one thing you were destined to do, and that there was a calling. And I think it's more about what you bring to that specific career or thing that you're doing that makes it fulfilling. And I will even say, when I first started doing event production, I didn't find it fulfilling, and I thought, oh, eventually I'll move on to the next thing, and then I'll be done. This is just what I'm doing for now. And that could be the case, but I have also found that as I've shifted my beliefs around my career and I've brought more of my playful self to my career as an event producer, it's become more fulfilling. Like I sat on this week on like 15 rehearsals for an event that I'm doing next week. And rehearsals can be boring if you want them to be. A lot of times it's just reviewing PowerPoint presentations with the speakers to make sure we understand their transitions and whatnot. But I found ways to make that playful, and I would poke fun at the speaker when they were going over their time in the rehearsal, and I would be like, hey Mike, we're going to bring on the Oscar swell music if you don't stop now, and things like that. There's just ways to infuse that into your career no matter what you're doing, and of course keep searching and keep exploring. But yeah, I don't think there's any one thing.
Yeah, I think those combinations are what make you valuable and interesting and unique too, right? That if you just do computer programming in this one specific language, that's not very valuable. That language can go away, so it becomes very risky, but also we can find other people who can do that. And typically people cheaper, right? when you look at a global market. But when you have a combination of things, when you've done a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you mix it all together, there's nobody really like you. That's a premium. We can pay more for that. We can find that more valuable, and then you can be flexible in your career too, and have a lot more stability and longevity by being able to flex.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think what you said there is that the more human you can be, and the more and the less, cookie cutter you can be about what you do, that's going to make you stand out. That's going to make you unique in what you're doing, because no one's going to do that one thing just the way you do, right? So the more you can bring those different aspects of yourself, then the more indispensable you're going to be.
That's awesome. Now, I want to ask you about play, because you mentioned dance for you, but have you explored different types of play? Is there buckets of things, or maybe something in your bucket list that you haven't done yet? Tell me about your personal recreation.
Yeah, so I have such this hammy performative side to me, which is probably why I love dance. So anything that falls under that category for me really energizes me. So dance, singing, playing the ukulele, and actually with last year, with having just more time on my hands, I really started getting into TikTok. And one of your previous guests, who's a good friend of mine, Jeff Harry, he and I made some TikTok comedy skits together, and it was so much fun. So I love anything that's performative, anything that's physical. That for me really pushes me and energizes me in the way that I really enjoy and gets me excited.
I may be getting it confused, but did you do dance with your sister on TikTok too, or was that somebody else?
Oh yeah, yep. She's also a dancer.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, we've done. I've roped. She's not on TikTok, but I roped her on a couple of TikTok videos. Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you guys live together, or you just roped her in the same town? You roped her into it?
We live together. Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's super fun. I find the siblings are interesting because you grow up playing together, so they remember how to play. Whenever I meet with my brother or sister, they inspire the playful side of me, because it connects me with my childhood and stuff. And luckily I had a very playful childhood. But
good.
What do you think about that? I mean, what inspires you to be playful? Do you have a playful mentor, or things that when you see other people do it, you're like, oh, game on, like that's fun for me? Is it just other people expressing themselves, or role model situations? When do you seem to have the most fun?
Ooh, yeah, I do have a couple play role models. I love Will Smith. He is one of my favorite entertainers of all time. And he's not only a great entertainer, but he is just, anytime you see him in an interview, in a talk show, or he just knows how to charismatically connect with people and find the thing to connect with them on in a really funny, playful way. So I love him. I also love James Corden, who's the talk show host.
Yes.
So I love his carpool karaoke's where he just like drives around with people singing at the top of their lungs together and sharing in fun stories together. Those two really stand out to me right now. And then one of my guests who I've had on the podcast, Gwen Gordon, who I mentioned who's the Muppet, who started out as the Muppet designer. She really looks at play in a transformative way and really sees play as the basis for transformation in humans, in culture and society. And I really admire that perspective on play. And I really agree with that the more playful we can become as individuals and as a culture, the more we're going to find healing across different cultures, differences. And so I really strive to adopt that perspective and live that way myself. But Gwen's a big inspiration for sure.
I wanted to ask you about that, but first I was going to say like Terry Crews is one of my like spirit animals, right?
Yes!
But I think we're very similar. I also like I call them creative nerds, but really intelligent people that like to be silly. So like a Steve Martin, or I always say the Bare Naked Ladies, but even like I see that in like Gwen Gordon is somebody that can be fun and be playful and be creative, but also super intelligent and think about it with purpose and meaning.
Yes.
But I want to circle back to what you said there about diversity and culture and stuff, because I think there's some interesting things there that I think really play could help our world with. That when we think about competition is different than play or an infinite game of doing it for fun, right? And I see so many people thinking in a scarcity mindset that if somebody has this, then I don't thing. And again, I'm an and person. So it's like, well, we could all have fun and we could all do what we want and find interesting and play for a living. But I think you've done a lot more thinking about this, and obviously you have a unique experience compared to mine as a middle-aged white guy from the middle of the country and middle class. That's a lot different perspective. So how do you think about that, and how do you think about play benefiting kind of the stuff that we're going through in our culture and things?
Yeah, I had a really interesting experience with this last year on the podcast. I brought on someone who had a very differing political and religious viewpoint to talk and understand where she was coming from. And she's actually someone from my past from 20 years ago who I just lost contact with and reached out to literally 20 years later to say, hey, I'd love to have a chat with you. And I would love for me to be able to bring in some play components to our conversation and to see if that helps us find some common ground and to help bridge us. And it was incredibly nerve-wracking. I never studied so hard for a podcast interview, but it was one of the more eye-opening growing experiences of my life, just to really sit down with someone that I could have easily could have become a combative situation or combative conversation, but using the elements of play to really frame our conversation and to really help us find some common ground together really was just it really saved the conversation, I would say, and kept it going in the right way. And it really opened my eyes up to what's possible if we apply these elements. And it really excites me to think about the possibilities. So there's that component for sure. Yeah. And and my family, specifically my parents, they didn't really understand the importance of play, I would say, until recently. So now that they're in this place in their life where they feel like they can just let go and relax now that they've worked so many years in grinding to survive and to take care of us, they can now see, okay, now I can do all these things that I enjoy and I can do now. And that really opens up my eyes to just the idea that not all of us have the ability to let go and play when we are bogged down by things like
Yeah.
surviving and making ends meet. And so a more playful world would mean a more equitable world. And so, but we have to get to the equitable part first. And so I'm really motivated and driven by that as an idea as well. So.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting to me. I think there's definitely some walls that are lowered when you're playing together, right? That kind of seems obvious. I think also for me, it's interesting that play and things that seem frivolous open up other more interesting things because there's not that pressure of performing or paying the bills or competing and stuff. So that becomes a lot easier for sure. That's all right.
Sorry about that.
And I think really that's where kind of I learned the teamwork and diversity for myself was playing sports and things as a child on diverse teams. And in college, we had starters from 9 different countries on the college 11 soccer team. And I think 7 different languages and stuff. But even younger and growing up, it was just, well, these are my teammates. I'm not thinking about anybody differently. And I'm thinking more about, are they a good player and helping us win than I am about what their home life or their background or where their parents were from. I don't care about any of that, right? When you're just a kid playing on the sports team. So I think there's a lot of powerful stuff there for sure, but it's
puts you on the same playing field, literally.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And the rules are the same for everybody there and stuff, that there's a lot of cool things, but I don't know. Do you have any other like thoughts or recommendations? If this is like, I think it's important for you and a mission. Do you have anything that like asks of the audience or encouragement for people to get out there and play and mix it up if that's important to them?
Yeah. Gosh, yes, that is. I hope that for that to be important to everyone, and it's going to be a journey for everyone to discover what that looks like. I would say don't put pressure on yourself to make play look a certain way, because I think outwardly it might look like something performative, like something that I love to do, or something that you love to do, like sports, right? But it doesn't have to look that way. It can be reading a book by yourself. It can be writing a story. It could be, having a dance party by yourself, but not with anyone else. It can look so different. I say that play is about finding connection. It's about finding flow, or it's about finding joy. And as long as you're leaning into one or more of those components, then you're playing. And if it's giving you energy, then it's play for you. So don't put pressure on yourself to be like, okay, now I need to go, and I guess I need to go roller skating now, or find something that doesn't feel natural to you. But yeah, so find what that is that gives you that energy and do it for yourself, but don't make it look a certain way.
Yeah, I think that's great. And the other thing that comes to mind for me is inviting everybody to the conversation or to the play, but they don't need to show up, right? That's on them. Your job as facilitating a play or a playful experience with people is to invite them and create a safe and fun environment for people to participate. And then it's up to them. If they opt out or they want to, stand on the wall in the gym instead of getting out in the middle and doing the dance party, then that's their choice. But you invited everybody, right? And I think that's a cool lesson and a cool part of play too, right? Is it's just an opportunity for people to opt in and play.
That's right. The opportunity's there if you want it.
That brings us to the part where I get to ask you, would you like to play or would you like to walk away? Louise, what do you think?
Let's play. Let's play, Mike.
All right, I'm going to spin our Wheel-O games. There's 10 wheels or 10 games on the wheel, and you got the Whisper Challenge. The Whisper Challenge is where we play the Zoom game of putting ourselves on mute, and then you can say a fun fact about yourself, and I'll try and guess what you said, or I'll go first so you get it. And all you have to do is try to get as many words right as possible. Does that sound good?
Sounds great. You go first. You're
Okay.
it.
So I'm putting myself on mute.
Okay.
You want me to repeat it?
One more time. Yes.
Okay. What do you think?
I kept seeing I married an axe murderer, but I know that's not right.
Well, you got one.
Yes.
You got one word.
One
So you
word
got a
right.
point. You're on the board. That means I can't go over. I met the Bare Naked Ladies backstage at their concert.
Ooh, so jealous.
All right, your turn.
Are they still doing music, by the way?
They are, yeah.
are.
One of the lead singers left the band a few years ago, but they're still making CDs, and they did a nice holiday concert. I bought the virtual tickets to their holiday concert. It was fun. And they've been doing some awesome, what do they call them? Selfie cam jams on YouTube during the pandemic. So they're all playing separately in their own homes and stuff, and they put it together. It's really cool.
Oh, that's so fun. It's been a while since I've heard them, but they were like so big for me in was it middle or high school? I can't remember now, but
Yeah,
they're classics.
that's awesome.
Okay, my turn.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh man. It looks like you went ice skating with Dan Marino.
It rhymes.
So I was close.
Yeah.
What was it?
I once ate a 6.5-pound burrito.
Oh, so
That was-
close. Burrito and Dan Marino.
Yeah. Yeah. And ice skating, 6.5 pounds. Yeah, you definitely saw
Yeah.
you definitely picked up on some things.
Tell me the burrito story real quick.
Yeah, so there is this Mexican restaurant in Denver called Jack and Grill, and they have a 7-pound breakfast burrito that they challenge anyone to eat. And if they eat it, they get to eat there free for life. There's this show, I don't think it's in existence anymore, but it was called Man versus Food. And
Right, yeah.
he would go and try to do these food challenges. He got like halfway through, but my best friend at the time when I was living in Denver said, I think you could do it. You should try and do it. And I'm like, you're ridiculous. And this is, I mean, over 10 years ago now, but I was like, all right. But I got through 6.5 pounds of it, and I would have been like the third woman to ever do it, ever finish it if I would have done it.
There's a half pound left. You were so close.
I know. Yes, it was.
Was there a time limit?
No time limit, but you
Oh,
couldn't
wow.
throw up, and that's what happened. So.
Well, there you go. That
know.
is that's a brilliant effort though, and extremely impressive. I love that. That's awesome. Any final thoughts for the audience, ways we can help you and what you have going on, or you can help us? What do you think?
Gosh, I mean, I'm always happy to connect with anyone and everyone around the topics of play. Yeah, so they can, reach out to me on social media, and yeah, I'm always looking for guests myself. So, people are welcome to reach out to me about that. Yeah, no, I think, yeah, that's it really. I hope that, I hope that everyone takes something away from this conversation, and I really appreciate you, Mike, for making this happen. We need more podcasts about play out there.
You bet. So definitely check out Louise's podcast. It is The Recess Life, anywhere you listen to podcasts. And she's an event producer. So if you need help with any of that, go to louisepanwo.com, and you can subscribe to our newsletter and get more information on stuff there as well. And for Playful Humans, subscribe iTunes, podcast, Google Play, give us a thumbs up, like this video. Put in the comments, people, for future guests or any ideas you have, ways to play during the pandemic. All great stuff. If you can't be good at it.
Don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today. Keep on chasing the sunshine and go out and play.
Go play, everybody.